Ever read those books that simply make you go, nope? So have I. So stick around and watch me as I do the Nope book tag. Hey friends, Roger here, and welcome to my channel, Roger's Reads. And today I'm doing a book tag, and the name of the tag is called the Nope book tag. And I will put a link to the original video below, as well as the tag questions. So let's get on to the tag. For the first question, ending, a book that made you go nope, either in denial, rage, or simply because the ending was crappy. That's an easy one. Six of Crows. Hated the cliffhanger. Waste of time. Number 2. Protagonist. A main character you dislike and drives you crazy. So for this, I think I'm going to go with Jude from The Cruel Prince. Now, this is one of those books that I liked, even though I really wasn't all that keen on the main character. But the story might have been a little bit more enjoyable if I had liked her character a little bit more. Another one that comes to mind is Daisy Buchanan from The Great Gatsby. She's pretty much hollow, selfish, and cared for nothing except herself. Oh, you know who I should have gone with? Joffrey from the Game of Thrones, but we're supposed to hate him, so I guess that doesn't count. Yeah, you know, with this question, I could go on and on and on. Number 3, a series. A series that turned out to be one huge pile of nope after you've invested all that time and energy on it, or a series you gave up because it wasn't worth it anymore. You know, strangely enough, I can't think of any series that I read that I gave up on or hated. I typically will abandon a series that I'm not into or that I dislike after the first book. It doesn't take me much longer than that to figure out that, yes, this one isn't for me. But there aren't any that come to mind that I was disappointed in. I usually read a series because I'm really into it. Well, maybe Divergent. I read only the first book or 2 books, and I did not complete it. Though, to be fair to the series, I'm not really a fan of dystopian. It really has to be exceptionally good for me to like it. So that's pretty much the only series I can think of that I jumped ship on, the Divergent series. Number 4, popular pairing. A ship that you don't support. For that, I'm going to go with Bella and Edward from Twilight. I thought Edward was a huge jerk. Definitely Team Jacob here. Number 5, plot twist. A plot twist you didn't see coming or didn't like. For this, I'm going to choose plot twists that I didn't see coming. And for that, I'm going to go with Fight Club. I was completely surprised when I read it, and I don't believe at the time I managed to guess it. Also, The Woman in Cabin 10. That one took me by surprise as well. Number 6, protagonist action/decision. A character decision that made you shake your head? Nope. So what comes to mind here is when Cersei Lannister from the Game of Thrones gave the High Sparrow power to arrest Loras, and in so doing, she ended up creating this monster that severely ended up backfiring on her. So yes, bad decision. 7, genre. A genre you will never read. So you know, I read pretty widely, so this one's kind of tough for me. I mean, I read sci-fi, fantasy, mysteries, thriller, contemporaries, horror, literary fiction. Though, you know, I'm not really that keen on historical fiction, though I do read it occasionally. But overall, I'm not a fan, especially novels that take place during wartime. I've read way too many World War II books. Oh, I know, poetry. I think poetry is considered a genre, so I'm going to go with that. You know, though there are a couple of novels that were written in prose that I enjoyed, but for the most part, I am not a poetry person. And I also tend to stay away from my experimental fiction as well, as my experience with that hasn't been all that positive. Book format. Book formatting you hate and avoid buying until it comes out in a different edition. So for book format, I'm going to go with something that I just recently came across, and that is lack of quotation marks around dialogue. And the first time I came across this was when I recently read Sully Rooney's book, Normal People. Though I love that book, I did not enjoy the lack of quotation marks. It made it a little bit difficult to differentiate between dialogue and inner monologue. Now, I don't think I would refuse to buy a book because of this, though I certainly wouldn't go out of my way to read one, that's for sure. Number 9, a trope that makes you go nope. So for this, I hate love triangles, and I try to avoid reading novels that have them. And I know a lot of people love them, and they're really huge in young adult literature especially, but I am not one of those people who enjoy them. Additionally, like many people, I also am not a fan of insta-love, but I hate love triangles a lot more. Some insta-love I can put up with. Recommendation. A book recommendation that is constantly hyped and pushed at you that you simply refuse to read. So for this, I'm going to go with The Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. I stopped after Cinder, the first book, because again, stupid cliffhanger ending. And I've had many people tell me that I need to finish this series, that it gets so much better, that I should give it a chance, but I am not having it. It's a huge pet peeve of mine, cliffhangers, and one that I've mentioned more than a few times on this channel. I feel like cliffhangers are deceitful and lazy writing at the very least. So I typically won't read books by authors who charge full price for a book but only deliver part of a book. Leigh Bardugo and Marissa Meyer are on the top of that list. Number 11, cliche pet peeve. A cliche or writing pet peeve that always makes you roll your eyes. So besides love triangles, there aren't really a lot that get to me. Maybe the tortured bad boy trope. That's been definitely overdone. Now as for writing pet peeves, info dumping comes to mind here. I really dislike that. I'm also often not a fan of dual point of views. That is, it doesn't always work. I've read so many books with this technique where it was impossible to tell which character was speaking because their voices were so similar. And next up is number 12, love interest. The love interest that's not worthy of being one. A character you don't think should have been a viable love interest. You know, for that one, I'm probably going to go with Harry and Ginny from Harry Potter. You know, I just never felt the chemistry between them. And I remember that when I first read the book, that the whole thing felt a little forced to me. I don't know, I just didn't buy into it. Number 13, a book that shouldn't have existed that made you say nope. So this is an easy one. I'm going to go with Zombie Fallout by Mark Tufel. The main character is a homophobic and misogynist asshole. And he's not like that, I don't believe, as an example, but rather I think that we're actually, as a reader, supposed to like this character. Yeah, I thought the book was garbage in my opinion. And next up is Villain. A scary villain / antagonist you would hate to cross and would make you run in the opposite direction. So for this one, I'm going to go with Bellatrix Lestrange. She's evil, ruthless, and clearly insane, and pretty much capable of anything. So yeah, I'd hate to be on her shit list. Number 15, death. A character death that still haunts you. So you know, it's kind of hard to answer this question without spoiling the book for others. Well, maybe except for the characters in Harry Potter, because I think most people have either read them or seen the movies, and if not, they probably have no intentions on doing so. But for this, I'm just going to say a beloved character in the first book in the Mistborn series. I won't say any more than that, as I don't want to spoil it. Let's just say that I did not see this person's death coming, and I was not amused. Number 16. An author you had a bad experience reading and have decided to quit. Again, I will mention Leigh Bardugo. Now, I know a lot of people love her books, but after that rude cliffhanger at the end of Six of Crows, I swore that I would never read another one of her books. Though, you know, I might have to break that promise, actually, because she wrote Wonder Woman Warbreaker, one of the books in the DC Icons series, which I actually own and do plan on reading. So hopefully she actually finished it and didn't end it on a cliffhanger. But let's see, that was the last question. Yeah, so that is the Nope book tag. Have you done this tag? If so, give it a try and let me know if you decide to do it, because I'd love to see your answers. So I think that about does it. As always, I thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate all of your support. And if you would click the like button below, I'd really appreciate it, as it helps people find my channel. And that'll do it. I'll talk to you in the next video. Roger and out.